Hello, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, evening, good night, whenever you guys are watching this interview. Welcome to the BIM Cafe. I'm very happy to be here today, the host for you, to introduce you a very special guest and talk about BIM. Today, we're going to focus a bit more about BIM, but we try to speak less about BIM and more about the technology always behind it. You say, the world is getting more and more overwhelmed with the word BIM, so we want to make things easier and more clear. Thanks for coming in. Just gonna interview our guest today, and we're gonna welcome him in. So, Petr Vokoun, welcome to the BIM Cafe.
Hi, Enrique. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming by. Before we jump into the interview, we need to spend, a bit of this what streamers and YouTubers do, 2-3 minutes of quick promotion. So, the channel, the BIM Cafe YouTube channel, you can scan the QR code, subscribe there, or just look at YouTube, the BIM Cafe for the channel. And as well, we have our newsletter, the same in LinkedIn, called the BIM Cafe. Over 9,000 people already subscribed. You can scan also the QR code and get new weekly updates about our articles. These interviews as well will be posted at some point as transcript or the headline, as is well like an online magazine. So those two ways to keep a track of us, our activities, and create the community that we want to build with BIM and the technology in the construction industry. Well, sorry for that, Peter. We just need to give a bit of push to the channel, right? Let's kick off with the interview. And first of all, as we always do, we're gonna show the small structure presentation we prepared for this. You guys will see in a minute, but Peter runs his business working with BIM objects. Okay, so we will see how it's gonna be related with, and we're gonna talk about the BIM objects boom and the generic BIM object is worth it to create a specific one or no, and then related with his project itself. But first of all, Peter, let me just load on a bit the music. We get a bit serious here, and I give you the whole floor to introduce to our audience. Again, thanks for coming in, and all yours. Who are you? What do you do here?
Yeah, first of all, I'm an architect. I had a studio after school with my friend. Was working there for 5 years, but basically the whole studies and after the university. So it's been 15 years for now. I've been focusing on BIM objects, of the development, of the studying what it should do and what should it be for. So when I founded BIM project, we really started to focus only on project specifications. So from the whole BIM cycle, the BIM process, we only focus how to fill in the BIM models with data. And there's a lot of issues and topics around this. So it obviously is involved into other topics like logistics and purchasing and so on. But we're trying to focus on this only. So we'll do it 100%. Yeah. So that's it. That's for me. And yeah.
Fantastic. So I need to tell you something that you are very brave to jump into the wall of BIM objects trying to make it because there is a big fight to do it to do it over there. What were your beliefs to go from an architectural studio or the work you did before to say I want to deliver BIM objects to people. I want to provide a platform where you guys can use the BIM objects to do your projects.
Well, actually, the history is that we've been offering manufacturers BIM libraries, but it wasn't called BIM libraries 15 years ago. It was called ArchiCAD libraries or Revit libraries, and we were telling them it's a good marketing way to promote their products and so on. And the people loved it because they started with 3D. It was new for them. Actually, at that time, it was the switch between AutoCAD and Revit and AutoCAD and ArchiCAD, and the fight between these two platforms, and Open was there and so on. So everybody was happy that they can make visualizations in 3D and so on. Nobody actually cared about the data, so it was not really BIM objects as we know them now, and everybody was checking the detail. But as the time went by, the people actually didn't change their mindsets, and they are still searching for BIM objects and downloading them. And but the technology advanced, and when there's more focus on the data inside, and there's lots of trouble with it because it's not up to date, it's localized, there are no standards for which objects should have which properties and so on. So now is the time when people who really need to deliver BIM models, it's not enough for them. And those who don't need to deliver BIM, but they are just working in 3D, they are still using these objects for visualizations. But it's a question if this is BIM, if you just model it and then you print out the drawings and so on.
Well, Peter, welcome to the BIM Cafe as well.
Hi, Peter.
To our guest here, explain us why he jumped into the BIM world and why people will need those BIM objects, right? And it's true that the only having BIM objects to visualize that this is not really, is it BIM that? No, what is BIM? We want to ask ourselves.
Yeah, actually, I started to use the words BIM process and BIM model, so it will a little bit clarify when you talk about something. So even with my guys in the office, if they say BIM, I'm asking, what do you mean? And then it's much clearer. So yes, so we actually we didn't jump in this like environment. It has been developing for years, and we were checking out what is it, why manufacturers should pay for something, why should give their support, and why users should download it and use it, and how, and so on. And we were trying to just search for the best ways how to help with this.
Petr, so just one question from my side. Because after a couple of, again, sorry for just not showing up on the early on the
no problem.
streaming, but one of the clients who we just finished the discussion, he asked me not to use BIM anymore, the BIM word anymore, right? Is it something which you're hearing as well, that the people are overloaded with the BIM and everything? They asking for something more like a transformation, etc. BIM is like
yeah, we found out a couple of months ago that it's much better if we say we do digital tools and digitalization that can that is compatible with Revit and ArchiCAD. So we found out
because better. It's just sometimes we heard even from the, and you guys, you can hear it on one of the streamings on the interviews. One of the guys said when he said BIM, the people were just throwing him out of the offices, saying just no, I don't want to talk to you if you're talking BIM, right? Out. And wow. So I think this is something was really interesting to hear. So it's good that you confirmed. So that's nice.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is now our newest speech. Sorry, Peter, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, when we ask a manufacturer about the BIM objects, they usually say, yeah, we have it already. And then when we ask, okay, how's it going? How many people use it? Yeah. Then they are a little bit confused, and then they in the end start admitting that there is not such a demand for the BIM objects, and they don't really know exactly what to do. So we're trying to help them understand the whole process, and that's the way it starts, because there's still like a very huge group of people are using AutoCAD. It's like all over the world, and then there is a huge amount of people using Revit and ArchiCAD, doing the 3D and drawings, and then this small part of us who really are trying to figure out how to deliver BIM models. So it's not much yet. But I believe it will be spreading.
We need to find some way of bringing this together, because I think that will be really the big bang stuff. If we will, I agree. I'm just, the market is stuck somewhere, and the people are stuck, and they stuck in their positions, like in the, I don't know, between the French and German during the First World War, right? They stuck in their position. They don't want to move. And right now I can see that if we will be able to enable it somehow, that they can see the value of it, I think it will be good. I see this as well, that when we use the BIM with Enrique, it's not anymore interesting. So I think we need to move towards the digital transformation. I think, I'm not sure, Enrique, if we can change the BIM Cafe name, but I think we
Exactly. This is what I was thinking. Maybe we pick the wrong name for the show, because now people are gonna, BIM Cafe, I don't want to listen about BIM. Digital Cafe.
Yeah, no, I think we need to change
Well,
this.
fantastic, guy. Yeah. Well, so let's jump into the first topic, and it's we name it the BIM object boom. In terms of what we are discussing right now, no, the BIM objects arrive, everyone adopted. Yeah, okay, let's have BIM objects. Let's pay this much thousand of euros or dollars or pounds or whatever to have them on our site, and then we forget about them. So everyone, yeah, it's like ticking a box. No, I have my products in BIM objects. It doesn't matter if they are from 2006 or 2010. They are already done, and they're not giving me any money. So this is a lie. This is a lie. So there is like three main questions showing on the screen. Not to ask them to directly, Peter, but what do you think about this boom that happened? That people adopted, okay, let's put it on the side. They say we don't use it, we don't get the benefits. So who is responsible for this failure?
I don't think it's a failure. I think it's a process that has not been ended yet. And the thing is that there are two points of view. One is from the manufacturer, who in the past were providing catalogs and sketch drawings and details and stuff like this. And it was always for free, and they were giving it as a support to architects and planners. And suddenly someone started to ask about Revit objects. So they started to provide Revit objects, but the knowledge around this whole digitalization has to be vast to include everything, and they just were depending on some companies that were delivering some objects, and that they thought that's the right thing. So that's the one point of view, and they did what they could and what they thought was right. And then on the other side, there are users, and they really needed something for their Revit models. So they just simply asked for it, and they got something, and maybe there was a little feedback the architects were giving to the manufacturers. Maybe everybody was waiting that something will miraculously happen at some point, and everybody will start using it. I don't know. But I think that it shouldn't be like providing BIM objects. It should be like more like providing data, and the terminology is very important here, because if you provide the data in the catalog or in the PDF or in the BIM object in the digital way, it's the same idea. And I personally like printed catalogs, because it's much faster to find something. But then there is the issue, if you want to fill in the BIM model with the data, then you have to retype it, so you should have it also digital in a database somewhere. So yeah, I think it was a big boom, and everybody saw the potential of what can be done with BIM. And until this day, I hear how digitization is great, and how it will solve all the problems and so on, and CO2, and now it's the environment is a topic and everything. But nobody really is thinking about where to get the data and how to put them into BIM models. Everybody knows how to work with it. So we thought that we will focus on this.
But
And it
sorry,
starts...
sorry for interrupting
yeah.
you. Sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that the people do not know where to take the data from. That what I if I understood correctly, that's what you said.
No, I mean, the idea is that the manufacturer should provide BIM objects, and that will solve everything. But I think that it should be the mindset should be that the manufacturer is providing data in some form, and the form could be BIM object, or it could be a database, and then you can think more clearly about what you need it for, and what you do with it.
Okay.
So if you have the file, it's really, you're stuck in your belief that the file will solve something, but it won't.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking, because I'm the big fan of Amazon. So I'm thinking how these guys are doing it, because they have thousands of different customers. And if you're selling on Amazon, if you wish to sell, you need to comply to the standards, right? And of course, they have a power of the platform, right? So that's a question, that's the point. But you still need to give some very standardized information in the very standardized form, which will allow them to say yes, no, if we can sell it or not. So is this something which is missing on this manufacturer side, that somebody can just take a lead on this and consolidate? Or what's the why we cannot build the Amazon for construction industry?
Well, I think we can, and it's missing, and for some product types. So the first thing is the the structure, the construction is really complex. So there's like hundreds of types of products. We call it product types, and for example, there's ETIM standard. It's really widely used, and it's for MEP objects, or types most of all. And for these objects, you have the standard. You know which properties should be there, how they should be named, and so on. But if you go to window manufacturers, it's not that clear. So there are sometimes standard for this and that, but it's not for everything. The second thing is that some of the products are custom made. So if you want to manufacture a window, you have to take care if the width and height is not too big, so the glass won't break and everything. And maybe the most important part is the distribution. So there are manufacturers selling directly, so they can take a luminaire, put it in the box, and send it all over the world. And then there is products that you have to manufacture on site or manufacture like based on specification, and it's really complex. So if you work with exterior shading, with exterior blinds, you have to know lots of parameters to put it together, and you have to have certain knowledge. So nobody would order it online, because if you make a mistake, it won't fit in a building. So it's not as simple as buying an iPhone.
Okay. Let me challenge your thinking. And I'm not talking about the iPhone. I just try to think about the plane interiors, right? And again, each airline has a different interior, right? In terms of the building the planes. Each part of it's just, you can just configure it in a completely different way. Still, you have a standard, so you have the chairs, you have etc. etc. But you still can, just all supply chain then is digital there. And when you go to the Airbus, they for the new airplanes, the 350, everything is just going as digital flows. And believe me, they don't only have the one supplier, they have just thousands. And if you're just running short of something, they can just go to the second layer, etc. So yes, I hear what you're saying, that the construction is complex, but bloody hell, just if you put the whole interior of the Airbus 350 correctly, yeah, it's damn complex too, and maybe even technology more complex than well, maybe not. That's the same complexity. The size is different, so
No, it's not the same complexity. Sorry, because if it's still a plane, and all the planes are very similar, but each building is completely different.
no,
And
the planes
there
are
is
different. Why are you saying the planes are the same? No.
I mean, how many planes type? I mean, if yeah, I think that if we went with building like all the same buildings, or the
You
same
have
fit outs, it may be work.
okay. That's great. So in the building, you need to have the foundations, you need to have the pipe, you need to have the energy system, you need to have the water system, etc. This is the standards. The standards are very similar. If you go country by country, they are very similar. So you cannot create the pipes which are just will not be serving. So that's the same in the airplane. You can have airplane is just the same thing, right? So just all of the chassis and everything is yes, I agree, but then you can have the different fuels, different the engines, different interior, exterior, different painting. Correct. The one part is always the same, right? The rest is everything is just managed, and it need to fit into together, and it's still bloody hell flying 10,000 meters above the ground, with the buildings are still solid on the ground. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry, just we went through the.
Yeah. I mean, I think I got your point. I mean, there's certainly standards for some of the parts of the process, but not for the whole process. And I mean, now we are like constructing buildings, right? So it works somehow, but not in a digital way, and not most effective. So the process is really complex and has to be digitized step by step. So maybe the foundation for that are the product data. Maybe it's about like mapping it from the start to the end and then putting it together. I don't know, but I think if we don't go like trying it, going to dead ends, we will never figure it out.
No,
So
sorry for challenging you on this one, but I think, you're right. I think the one big difference is that, it's still, when you think about the Airbus, is this they owning the whole installation, right? I think this is the problem of the ownership. When you go to the building, each time you have a different owner who has a different view of the world, right? At the end, when you go to Boeing and to Airbus, this is they plane. We can sell it to Qatar or to Air France or to Czech Airlines, but it still will be at a plane who was built by ABCD. When the buildings, you have a mother and father company who just building the building somewhere else, and it's just, they do as they want, right? So
Also, there is a middle point here. I would say we need to find between the full customization and also making things generic and more digitalized and standard things that we need to learn, as you are saying, from aeronautics, automotive, also airplane industries. And how do we find this balance, Peter? I ask you to don't make all the planes similar, because at the end we on the plane we spend between 2 to 10 hours. No? On the house we're gonna spend our whole life. So you want it to be special, or you want it to be made to fit your needs. It's not like, okay, I'm gonna sit on this Ryanair seat. It's okay. It's only 1 hour. No? How do we can find that balance?
um, you mean balance in like
Not make it all generic, no, like going to the communism war and make all the buildings the same, or
no. I didn't say to make it
Yeah.
all the same. I said that this is the hard part, that it's not the same. And as an architect, I don't really advise to anyone to copy a building to another spot and do the same again. So I think that the BIM and digitization should be really about like improving the work and like getting things faster and avoid mistakes, and that's what everybody is talking about. Because one of my friends once said that if you want to make an improvement, innovation, it has to be paid off. Otherwise, it wouldn't. Why would you do it if there's something that won't bring you the money that you invested? So for some companies that started with BIM early, it was the developers in Czech Republic, for example. They said, okay, we are building the structures faster, so it's very handy for us if we have it digitized. But there are others who can't use this advantage because they are doing ordinary small housing estate, and for them maybe BIM will never be like they will never have the added value. But maybe if everything works and they will just get it on a silver plate, then they will use it. So yeah,
makes sense.
But fantastic. So this is how we link to our next topic of these generic BIM objects, preparing the floor for you, Peter, later to talk about what you think can be an ideal solution, right? Excuse me. And this is something interesting. Again, three main questions to discuss around there. But the main question here is: does it make sense to forget about the full customization? Does it make sense to provide design the airplanes, sorry, the houses like the airplane, for example, no? And then after that, your level of customization, how much limit you put to people, just call it manufacturers or architects or engineers, if you want to set your buildings in a generic way with the generic build objects. So
generic object is something you have to start with. It's not. It doesn't have to be the end. So we don't want to like think of limiting people. But the idea when you start designing something, it's about the mindset and the process. So nowadays the people, as we said, they used to download some files. So that means that the first thing, if you need a table, for example, you check the catalog and you pick up the table and you put it in your project. But actually, as an architect or designer, planner, anyone, even an investor, first is the idea. I need a table. So you should have an idea if it's rounded or not. But you just put it in your interior, or you just say, okay, I need the category that's called tables, and okay, it will be dining table or a desk or what. And then you keep narrowing down, or you add more requirements for it. And in the end, you may end like searching for, I don't know, Vitra table that is designed, and you will have it in the visualization, but it will be the last step for you before you buy it, or you'll be checking the price. So you start always with the idea that you need something. And this is something manufacturers really don't like, because they were persuading us that they really like their product in the early stage in the project. But we started to tell them that they don't, because the users don't want it. And it's not the architect's job to pick something from the catalog. It's his job to think what are the needs for the product. And it opens the door to many more topics. Like, for example, why can't I set my own requirements and ask the manufacturer to make a custom product for me, for example? There's lots of custom-made stuff, because you can't do that if you download an object. So it's really about the mindset, how people think through the design. And I think it has been really corrupted during the last years, where people were like all about BIM objects, where do I get them? And there's like million platforms, and I call them a e-shop style, that you have some product card and you download something, and you even don't know if inside is 50 colors of the same table or one color, and so on. So this is the basic idea of the generic stuff. And actually, it's been described in some standards already, that it should be a BIM object template and generic specification, and after that, it could be the real product. So the only question is if it's enough in the geometry detail for your purpose, but nobody says that you can't get it more detailed later.
And how do we convince here manufacturers, for example, that this is the way to go? Because we are asking for the data, but we're gonna tell them that the objects at the beginning are gonna be generic. So they're gonna say,
Yeah,
we're gonna. No?
Funny thing is that if you ask them for data, we had this idea, right? So we make the templates in Excel files, right? So they will give us the data. But it's not enough, because if you ask them about the diameter of the table, they will probably get you the right size. But if you ask them about, they have no idea if it's the thickness of the desk, or thickness of the leg, or what is it. So we started to create some like internal documentation. And when we ask the manufacturer for data, we give them also drawings. And we say, okay, for our table, here's a drawing, and you just fill in the parameters in the Excel table. And then based on that same documentation, we started to create Revit objects and ArchiCAD objects. So if we then put it into Revit or ArchiCAD, it was the same size of the geometry. So we basically started to distinguish what is a geometric property and what is the property of the product. And this way it works, but we have to simplify the geometry. And we started to explain to manufacturers it's not that it's their table, it's not as detailed as they used to as they saw it before, but we are, at the same time, we are telling them the BIM users don't want the high detail, so it's enough and it will work. And they were telling us, yes, but we need the high detail. So we said, no, we will not do it. And that was the clash with the manufacturers. So what we started to do was we told them, go to the architects who do BIM and ask them if they want a high detail or if this is enough. And when they did it, they came back and they said, okay, you're right, and you can do it. So that was the hard part, to convince someone who was approached by architects looking for something that we should really say strictly, we won't do this and this, even if somebody is willing to pay us money. So that was
yeah, very clear. Very clear. Good idea. And it's just, so that's just really well resonating with the market, your story, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah, actually, it starts working because when you have a positive feedback from the planners, then you know that they are investing the money in the right place, and we have very positive feedback on the approach. So the next step would be to think of some kind of UI design of an app that will handle these properties and so on. So yeah, but with the generic geometry we can go further. I will explain later how we do it, but it
Okay.
really starts here. And the second thing is that we draw the documentation of the geometry really based on market research. It was because even our guys were still like, okay, but in Revit you can't do this and that, and we had to like switch it to, okay, let's not care about what Revit can do and can't do, and let's do it like how it should be, and then we will discuss how it will look in Revit, and that was also a huge change of mindset. It shouldn't be attached to any software in the first place. If you want a table, you don't really care there is Revit at all. So
Okay.
yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so I see telling the manufacturer that you are doing generative BIM objects, but the properties will be there. So
Yeah,
playing this
I mean,
gray area that it's
no,
gonna be there.
no.
Don't worry, it will be like label, a blank
Yeah,
label. That
attaching the
you pass
properties
through.
is very easy because if you get the list of the properties somewhere and you put it there, but the thing is that there is not yet many like standard for all the product types, and the second thing is that the manufacturers don't have the data, and we were asking them 5 years ago to provide the data, and they didn't even have their own databases. Now they have something. They know what is BIM. They know it's important. So we help them sometimes to fill in the data or like give them some consultations and so on. But in the end, we don't do BIM systems because it's a different topic, and it's about the IT and databases and everything. But we are explaining them that they should have it, and they should be able to provide part of the data to their web provider, to their partners, distributors, companies like us, and so on. And but they have to manage, and that's the digitalization for them to create the database. Because 5 years ago it was like, okay, we have it in the PDFs, okay, this is not up to date, and okay, but part of the data is our web designer because he needed the pictures for the website and so on. And when they realize this, there is a problem with this, and they start with them inside the company, then it's the right approach to digitize. So
So again, the eye of the information, the importance of the data is here the key to digitalize. No? So let's try to avoid the word BIM, even though it's in the name of your company, Peter. But let's try to avoid the word BIM and talk more about data. So in a nutshell, for the few minutes we have left, tell us a bit more about how you already told us how you're facing the problem itself, no? But introduce the solution you guys are
yes,
working on.
so the basic idea of the service in the future, we want to be able to really show the investor the quality of the product he's specifying or he's buying in the end of the day. So if you are comparing something, it's very hard if you don't have all the information. And the manufacturers one day came to us, and they said, what is our motivation to innovate and to do high quality products if everybody only looks at the price? So we were starting to think, okay, if we can show the added value to the user of the product, and in the end he will know he's paying a little bit more, but for something that is 100% better quality, or it has twice as much warranty and so on, maybe it is the way how to change something. And if you do these comparisons also with the CO2 equivalents, and you say, okay, I have one faucet that will last for 2 years, or the other that will last for 10 years, that is twice as much expensive, you're not only saving your money, but also the environment, because you're not still throwing something away. So this is the basic concept where we want to go. And what we do now is that we start with the okay, let's go with these points, right? So they are all connected. So the mindset we started is the generic specification, the idea you want to build something. So the most important things, you start in the web browser. The platform is web-based and it's connected to Revit. You have to have a plugin in Revit. You don't have to run it. It runs automatically. But this is extremely important because most of the people, they were like, okay, I have to run Revit and then I have to do something there. But we are telling them, no, you don't have to open Revit, but anyone can open the platform. Anyone can put in the specification or the requirements, create the specification of the window. And then the next step could be share it with the manufacturer or with your colleague or with whoever you want. But you don't have to do it in BIM software, but the result may be needed in Revit, so you can add it through the plugin to Revit. So what it does is it takes the generic geometry, it includes only the requirements you need and to the generic object, and it puts it into Revit. And if you switch to catalog and you say, I need this window from Shikov, for example, the only difference in the geometry is that it has different properties, but it's still the same object. So you can at any time switch it to another object or go back to generic specification. So the idea of working in cloud is we believe that in the BIM process, working in cloud is necessary. And nowadays, the tools for BIM are like, you have Revit, export it to IFC, upload it to some I don't know, a Dropbox, or it could be CDE. And if you want to make a change, ask your architect, he changes the window, and so the process goes.
It's
Again.
constant
It's
loop,
really,
endless
it's
loop.
really, really annoying, and so some people are trying to avoid this process, so they are putting the information into PDFs, uploading to CDE the PDFs, and it's like it's crazy.
So the main pain point here, Peter, sorry to interrupt, is providing the platform so people can do the specification themselves, create them under those standards with the database they want to choose, and then you can work with that standardized or more, I don't know how to call it, approved big object that in your Revit or whatever. I'm working on for that. No?
Yeah, so you can say we have our own standard for geometry. Yeah, that is necessary. We had to do it.
Oh my God, I'm worried already.
Yeah, but I mean, we improve it and we work on it, and we don't like push it to someone to work with it. We just have it, and if the users like it, they will use it. If don't, we will improve it. But the key point is to explain the manufacturer which parameter is which, and that's the whole point.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this is your geometry model, what you have, and how is the manufacturers need to pay to you just to make their list they are having, and how this things from the economic model works?
Could you go back one slide, Enrique? Yeah, it's easy. So at this point, we are selling the branded solutions. So we take the cloud, we change the colors and the logo, and we narrow down the products for only one brand, and that's something they can put on their website and say this is our digital support, and they get the leads to the projects. So that's what really manufacturers want. They don't want to buy BIM objects, provide BIM objects, because if somebody downloads your BIM object, you don't have any information if you used it in a project. But now, if you start doing something, you probably have a name for it, and you say, okay, it's my house, a renovation of my house, for example. And then if you are able to share with them, so their technicians or salespeople can help you, that's something that they want and they're willing to pay for. So they can either do it on their own website with the branded solution or in our cloud. But this is really a different thinking also for them, and they like this approach much better. And this is something where you can see the benefit of digitalization, that there is a user or like potential buyer who has the money and who just wants to somehow interact with you, and he doesn't have to go to your shop or call you or waiting you to come and explain him everything and so on. So what we are trying is to include not only architects and planners, but also all the other stakeholders that can talk about it.
Makes sense. Very good.
Yeah,
I think in the interest of time, Enrique, I think we need to start to wrapping up a little bit. Petr, Petr, it's very interesting discussion and a good model. I'm just a little bit scared about your own geometry models and very proprietary. I'm just against the proprietary solutions because it's really locking down the clients and locking down this. So I just let's think about it. But again, this is my personal bias, but that's very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Peter, thank you so much for coming in. For everyone, BIM Project of Cloud, just give it a shout. Thank you for coming in, Peter, and to provide a will to solve this big problem of data. I will say rename your platform, rename our BIM Cafe as well. Let's remove the word BIM. And we stop talking about BIM anymore because we can see people running away unless there is a free pizza on the room.
Yeah, it's just like saying, BIM, no, I don't want to talk to you. No, please go away. I spend the time with BIM. No, it's okay. We will just wait for this hey, come and go.
Definitely. Okay, so
Good,
thanks
Fantastic.
for invitation, and yeah, have a nice day, guys.
Have a great day. Thanks, stay in touch. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys, for watching. Enrique, just make sure that you just publish our newsletter. Thank you, all of you guys who just subscribe to the newsletters. I think we have more than 9,000. I think it's 9,000 people. Jeez, it's growing. I love it. It's just that's one of the things which is great. We need to change the name to BIM from the BIM Cafe, so we will drop the name of the subscribers. Anyway, good guys. Thank you very much for being with us, and see you next time.
Bye bye.
See you next time. Thank you, Peter. Bye bye.